Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaura Devo, Devo, Haribo, Nitai Gaura Devo, Nitai Gaura Devo, Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Amagyantimidandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshun Umritam Yena Tasmai Sigurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakaramayam Dadasi Svapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Hare. Now I'm in trouble. Who can help me out of this? Yeah. So today, diese Klasse, I speak in English, right? The class will be in two sections. Number one, I will give the first part. Wir haben gewürfelt. Nicht gewürfelt, wir haben das losgeworfen. Im wirklichen Sinne. We change papers. So I will speak first, and Akila will speak then. Wir sind also die Ältesten hier, die Urgesteine der Hare Krishna-Bewegung aus der ersten Phase des Krishna-Bewusstseins. Die Dinosaurier der Hare Krishna-Bewegung. Die Dinosaurier. The dinosaurs of the Hare Krishna movement, so to say. We are the dinosaurs. So I will speak first, and then Akila Prabhu will speak after me. So, ja. Kleinen Moment. Mal kurz was einschalten hier. Die letzten Zeilen sind dann an der Tafel. Ja. Ja, okay. Okay, ich spreche über den Vers. Das ist ein Gebet. Hä? Was? Kleinen Moment. Kleinen Moment. Kann mir mal jemand helfen? helfen mit dem Kopfhörer, ja? Ohne Hörgeräte geht das nicht mehr. Ja, Hare Krishna. So. There's a prayer by Subal Gopal Prabhu in Chaitanya Mangala, Sutra Khandra, Song 12, Text 562 to 565. Ich spare mir das Bengali. Es wird hier gesagt, chanting of the name and qualities of Krishna is the life and energy of the Vaishnavas. I will reveal these activities and rejuvenate pure devotional service unto myself. In this way, I will destroy all the sins of Kali Yuga. So all of you, my associates, go ahead and take birth on the earthly planet before my advent, and don't remain behind. Taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, I will root out and destroy the demonic mentality in the heart of all the conditioned souls. If some sinful people escape giving up religious principles, if some sinful people escape and giving up religious principles, go to far-off countries, then my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. Senapati bedeutet ein military commander, Bhakta devotee. Lord Chaitanya will empower his own devotee to spread Krishna consciousness around the world. Hare Krishna. So, this is a very important sentence here. Dass mein Senapati Bhakta will come to teach Krishna consciousness all over the world. Now, here's a story. In den Anfang der 70er Jahre, in the beginning of the 70s, I asked Srila Prabhupada a question on a morning walk. We had translated the Bhagavad Gita into German language, Sachinandan Swami, Gauravani Maharaj, and myself. And so in this Bhagavad Gita, there was one verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam that I couldn't quite understand. Asked Srila Prabhupada, there's this verse in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Now I have to switch to another program here. Okay. This is verse. Starting with Aho Bhatta Svapatro, etc. O my Lord, the person who is chanting your holy name, although born in a low family like that of a Chandala, dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many, many times. After taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage, such a person is considered the best of the Aryan family. So I asked Prabhupada, this question, this verse is confusing. Bedeutet das, does it mean that in my last life I studied the Vedas and took bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage and went to all the holy places of pilgrimage? This is genuine, I doubt that I had. And Prabhupada smiled, chuckled, it may be so. He said, but what you have to understand is that I actually created you good fortune. I created good fortune. And it was, of course, it was wonderful to hear this from Prabhupada himself, that I talked to him on a one-to-one basis. But I couldn't really figure it out. I thought about it a long time, and here's a story. That 5,000 years ago, Ganga Devi approached Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. This is in Brahmavavata Purana. This is the very beginning of the Hare Krishna movement. That's actually where we are. It's our basic, our foundation, Brahma-Vavata Purana. And it says there, that 5,000 years ago, Ganga Devi approached Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. O protector, supreme enjoyer, on your departure for the perfect abode Goloka, thereafter, what will be my situation in the age of Kali? Lord replied, on the earth 5,000 years of Kali will be sinful, and sinners will deposit their sins in your bathing. However, here is a plan, the plan B. And that is, thereafter by the sight, listen very carefully, thereafter by the sight and touch of those who worship me by mantra, all those sins will be burned. There will be chanting of the name of Krishna, Hari, and reading, first chanting of Hare Krishna all over the world, and reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, second. Reaching such a place, attentive hearing, sinful reactions, including the killing of a Brahmana, can be nullified by hearing the Purana and chanting the names of Hari in the manner of devotees. Just, quote, just as dry grass is burned by fire, by the embrace of my devotees, all sins will be burned. O Ganga, the whole planet will become a place of pilgrimage by the presence of the devotees, even though people have been sinful. In the body of my devotee, in the body of my devotees remains eternally the purifier. Mother Ganga, Mother Earth will become pure by the dust of the feet of the devotees. It will be the same in the case of pilgrimage sites in the whole world. Those intelligent worshippers of my mantra who partake my remnants, that's the third one now, he talks about prasadam. 3 items. Number 1, what was it? All over the world. Second? Srimad-Bhagavatam. And it says that Bhagavatam, it will start a revolution of mankind. It's right in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. There's so many verses hinting in this direction. And then what is the third one? Prasadam. They are more dear to me than my life, who every day meditate on me. The air and fire become pure simply by the direct touch. Now comes number 4. For 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, such devotees of man will fill the whole planet. After my departure of my devotees, there will be only one Varna outcast. So after this departure, after the 10,000 years, he said that devoid of my devotees, the earth will be shackled by Kali. Saying this, Sri Krishna departed. That's everything is right here. If you make notes, Bhagavata Purana, 4.129 to 49 to 60. 4,500 years passed, and nothing much happened. Except that if somebody takes a bath in all the holy rivers of India, if he performs this tapasya, and visits all the holy places of India, that's the verse in Bhagavatam, he will be able to chant the holy mantra. In other words, the Hare Krishna mantra was a secret. It was underground for a long time. And only if somebody had enough punya, pious credits, like bathing in the rivers and doing all that, then Krishna will send him somebody who introduces him into the chanting of the holy mantra. This is how that works. Super soul tells him. And so he goes to this person and teaches him the chanting of the holy of the Hare Krishna mantra. That was the history throughout. There's a story of Yamunacharya. He heard from his spiritual master this mantra because he was a blessed soul. And the spiritual master told him, this mantra is so powerful, everybody who chants this mantra will be saved. Don't tell this mantra to everybody, it's a secret. So he went on the roof and spoke it from the roof. To listen, people of such and such, all of you can be saved. You just chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, chant. So the spiritual master became angry. He said, how dare you to cross my instruction? How dare you? That's what happened. Now comes the point. Lord Chaitanya appeared, and he is a game changer. A game changer. Because that was a game that you have to have pious activity, this sort of thing, and then Krishna will send you somebody. He's a game changer. That verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam, namely that we heard in the beginning, that one who chants the holy name must have chanted in his must have performed tapasya in his previous life, bathing in the holy rivers and taking visiting place of pilgrimage. That place became, practically speaking, defunct. That's the only verse in the whole Bhagavatam that became, so to say, retired with the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Because we all know Lord Chaitanya, he opened the stores of love of God. What does that mean? It means that he distributes the Hare Krishna mantra indiscriminately to anybody who wanted to hear it. That's the point. That's why he's a game changer. It was a complete different phase since Lord Chaitanya. Had never happened before. The Hare Krishna mantra goes everywhere. So we are very fortunate to be part of this. Now we're coming to this other point. Why Srila Prabhupada is quoted here that my Bhakta Sena, he will come all over the world. Here's the point. So the Hare Krishna mantra went public with Lord Chaitanya, and it stayed within India. Many people started chanting holy name. And then our acharyas, one after the other, they spread this chanting of the holy name all over India. It was the second stage. Now we come to the third stage. There was only one person who actually went and traveled all over the world to preach the Hare Krishna mantra, and that is who? Srila Prabhupada. That's the point. Now you can see it very crystal clear what it means as it is stated here. One second, let me go back here. Then my Sena Pati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya will empower his own devotee to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. It's Prabhupada. Prabhupada was so empowered. I mean, how was he able to attract so many people? It's a miracle. There was one boy, he was traveling in a bus party. There was a bus party of Ken Casey. He was an acid head. He was distributing acid all over the United States, LSD. His famous acid party. So there was a library in his bus, and there was one Bhagavatam in it. Some other Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. So there was one devotee, one boy, he read that Bhagavatam, and he says, oh my God, I got to see this Swami. And so he called his parents and said, you send me a ticket. I want to go to India. I want to meet this man. I have to meet him. So he came to New York, traveled to New York to fly out of JFK Airport with his ticket in his pocket. And he stopped in the Haight-Ashbury in the Lower East Side and heard this sound, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So he knew this from this book, from the Bhagavatam. He went over there, and there was an old man sitting on the ground under a tree, chanting Hare Krishna with some followers. And after Prabhupada spoke, a little lecture, he said, any questions? He said, yes, I have a question. He said, I have this book here, this Bhagavatam. Since you're from India, can you tell me where I can find the Swami? I need to talk to him. I have a ticket for India in my pocket. But the Swami sits in front of you. So you see how Prabhupada, he had this power to attract people from all sides. There was a community in the what was it called? They were in the redwood forest of Southern California, on the other side of the Golden Bridge. The Morning Star community, they were hippies. And they were living on trees, on redwood trees. They had made bridges from one tree to another, and there was something like 200 people living in trees. like gorillas. And so Prabhupada was invited. Somebody said, you got to go there. They want to hear you. They're interested in spiritual life. So these boys were not ordinary people. They were actually interesting in Zen Buddhism, in Chinese meditation, in throwing the I Ching and reading the Tibetan Book of Death and the Egyptian book. Kind of brainy people. They were living in trees, a whole community of intellectuals. And so somebody blew the shofar horn. This is a Jewish horn. It's from an oxen. It's called the shofar horn. Everybody came down, sat down in front of Prabhupada, and they were all naked. Naked. Nobody had anything on. Not as sitting in front of Prabhupada, all these naked people, 200, 300 people. So Prabhupada came, he sat down and looked and started laughing. He said, Swamiji, why you have laughing? And Prabhupada, this audience is very unusual, that I have not seen this before. Anyway, so Prabhupada spoke. And after the lecture, 4 people came up to him and said, can we join you? He said, yes, you can, but you have to put clothes on. So they put clothes on and followed Srila Prabhupada. Who were these people? Krishna Goswami, Vishnujan Swami, Jai Tirtha, and one more, Subal, I think, Subal Maharaj. 4 people joined right from there. Hearing Prabhupada's message, it blew their mind. It blew their mind. Just like when I read Prabhupada's Ishopanishad, I read it overnight, it blew my mind. As soon as I read this book, and I was already studying comparative religion, but when I saw black on white Ishopanishad, it blew my mind. I said, that's it. That's it. Immediately I joined the temple next day. So Prabhupada had this magic power that he was able to do that he was able to change people's mind. I was sitting in San Francisco. At some stage I was responsible for the temple there near the Golden Gate Park, Card Street 4, I remember. And so in the morning, I went out and chanted in the Golden Gate Park. And opposite Hippie Hill, where Prabhupada started the Hare Krishna movement in San Francisco. And so I was chanting in the sunshine, looking at the place where Prabhupada had started the movement. An old man came, black, really black, like a teapot, this black, you know. Old man. He pushed his shopping cart. That means he was homeless, a homeless person. And he stood in front of me and looked at me for a long time. And I got a little worried, you know. And he said, this guy who started this, who pulled this off, this Hare Krishna. He said he was a cool cat. Which is the highest praise you can probably get in the black community. He's a cool cat. Prabhupada being a cool cat. He said, I was living with him in the Bowery. Prabhupada lived in the Bowery. Remember that? Bowery, New York, in the Lows, where all the burnt out people live in the Bowery. You didn't have to pay rent. He says, I was living in the same house like him in the Bowery. The house was a complete mess, he said. But let us not forget, Jesus was born in a barn. He walked away. And I thought that was wonderful that he drew the connection, that he saw Prabhupada on this level. I cried. And he said that it was so beautiful that here is a person who's homeless. There's such huge appreciation for Prabhupada that he compares him with Jesus, who was born in the barn. This is just one example how Prabhupada was transforming the community. And this is then my answer to the question that he created my good fortune. It doesn't mean my good fortune, everybody's good fortune who actually buys a book or comes in contact with the Hare Krishna movement and actually takes to it. Prabhupada has created your good fortune. Mine as well as everybody else's. In 10,000 years, anybody who takes to following in the footsteps of Prabhupada, Prabhupada creates good fortune for him. Brahmana Brahmini Kona Bhagavan Jiva. The soul may have traveled all over the universe, but if he becomes fortunate, Bhagyavan Jiva. He becomes fortunate. Bhagyavan means fortunate, auspicious. He finds the spiritual master. The spiritual master sows the seed of devotion in his heart. This is Srila Prabhupada. So therefore, it is completely correct to conclude that, that Shenapati Bhakta will come and give Krishna consciousness to the whole world. That's Prabhupada. Nobody has done that. Nobody before has gone outside to preach. Some followers of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, Bon Maharaj, together with Krishnadas Babaji, by the way, the older devotees may know that person. Krishnadas Babaji was a Babaji and very deep involved in chanting the holy name. He was Babaji, he was not a preacher, but Prabhupada liked him a lot. And so when Prabhupada left his body, Krishnadas Babaji said to Prabhupada, Babu, this is a way how you, my brother, it's a Bengali way to say, the Babu, you have done wonderful in these last days. And Prabhupada said, I have done my duty. D-U-T-Y, he said, duty. And so Prabhupada was very dutiful. He considered this his duty to preach Krishna consciousness. And so in the same way, we should consider it our duty to preach Krishna consciousness. The duty, I mean, it can take many ways. I know one devotee in Uganda, in Black Africa, and he goes into the university and just distributes little leaflets, just little small things, and invites people for a meeting on the weekend. He has always 5, 10 people come there. He makes prasadam with him, discusses with him, and some join. It's a very simple thing. Anybody can do. In this way, you can create some little namata wherever you are. So preaching is the essence. And I remember Prabhupada also, when he came to London, the German devotees were at that time the top book distributors in the world, actually. So Prabhupada invited us to come to London, and he asked a question. What is the most important verse of all? And somehow I lifted my finger together with Haraka. He was on the other side. He had the same idea because we were traveling together in the same Sankirtan van, Haraka. So we both said, as like parrots, the same verse, Yare Dekata Ka Krishna Upadesh. Wherever you go, you preach. And Prabhupada said, that is the most important verse of all. Preaching is the essence. And then he looked at me and said, what does it mean, Krishna Upadesh? And I said, I was on the hot seat, right in front of everybody. I got grilled by Prabhupada. What does it mean, Krishna Upadesh? I said, Prabhupada, Desh means place. He said, well, that's true. Desh means place, but Upadesh is the supreme instruction of Krishna. And what is that instruction? What is that Upadesh? And again, I was befuddled. I mean, sitting right in front of Prabhupada, he asked this question like this, looking into your eyes, what is this? What is that Upadesh, the supreme instruction? I said, Prabhupada, I can't get it. He said, you should know. Sarva Dhamman Prijajya Mamikam Sadanam Vraja Amtvam Sarva Papibhyo Mokshayashyami Sattva. You give up all mental speculation, all Physimatenten, wie man sagt in Deutsch. Leave this all behind and just turn to me and I will free you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. And then he said something very important. He said, not only that you distribute my books, you also have to read the books. It's a very important instruction Prabhupada gave. And to that, since we are at this subject, let me find you something. Give me a second. Very important. Oops. Here. There. Read. one sentence. You reading. Sorry. There. This is what Prabhupada said. Listen very carefully. He says, you don't read. We all should hear this. You don't read. In the first volume of Bhagavatam, these things are explained. But I don't think you read all these things. So if you don't read, then you feel restless. Or let me go to Japan, to India, from India to Japan. You're restless because you don't read. I'm laboring so hard for you, but you don't take advantage. Don't take advantage of only eating and sleeping. Take advantage of these books. Then your life will be successful. My duty, I've given you so valuable things, day and night trying to convince you, each word for word. But if you don't take advantage of this, then what can I do for you? It's amazing. What Prabhupada said there, what can I do for you if you don't take advantage of reading? So Prabhupada gave us this message that, yes, we have to read Srimad-Bhagavatam. Srinvata Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Reading Srimad-Bhagavatam is Punya, pious, Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting. Rityanta Subadrani. All the impurities in the heart will be destroyed. Bodhonali Suritsatam. And you become pure and pure devotee. So these are the instructions, and I know they're not easy to follow, to read Prabhupada's books. You have to read Prabhupada's books early in the morning. But if you do so, like this famous example I gave the other day, our Chandramoli Swami, that he reads Prabhupada's books every day, 2-3 hours. He's a sannyasi. And one day, loud he read Prabhupada's books. He felt the atmosphere had changed. And he looked up for a moment, and then Prabhupada's voice came in. This is just 2 years ago, and read for him his Srimad-Bhagavatam purport for 5 minutes. And then the voice ebbed away. This is a very important experience of one devotee. It means that Prabhupada is here. He's not dead. He said, I'm not dead. I live in my books. And so we can have direct association with Srila Prabhupada by reading his books. Direct association. And you find there's so many wonderful, incredible instructions. I mean, the books are incredible, actually. The more you read them, there's so many instructions. Basically speaking, you have Prabhupada's personal dasan. What is it called? Upadasana, I forgot. There's a Sanskrit word. You sit at the feet of the spiritual master, and you get personal instructions that fit your particular situation. That's the magic of Srila Prabhupada's books. So he is indeed the bhakti, the Srena Bhakti. What was it? I have to just look it up again. Sorry, my brain is not very good. I tend to forget. Yeah, here it is. He is there, that's right. The Srena Pati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada's influence was huge. I'll give you an example. We were preaching, he was invited to the University of Stockholm, or Uppsala, one of the two, I forgot. And so what we did not know, and what Prabhupada didn't know, that this was a very left, super left, hyper left university. Everybody was a communist, a Marxist, a Leninist, Ho Chi Minh is a Maoist, an anarchist. I mean, the whole plethora of communism was assembled there. All these young people that didn't believe a damn thing about God or about anything, just communists, basically speaking. So Prabhupada didn't know that what he was walking into. And I said, actually, there's a stativ is there, very close. So I'm telling you that why it's important. I said there at that moment. So Prabhupada came in and he looked at the crowd while he was chanting. He studied the crowd and he understood. Krishna told him, these are all atheists, socialists, communists, Marxists, etc. And all these people, these different groups of communist mentality, they disagree. They have different kind of angles on communism. They agree in one thing. What is the one thing they agree in? Huh? There is no God. No? No God, that's one thing. And the other thing? That's also true. Another one, there are no classes, a classless society. In every community, they believe in classless society. And so Prabhupada understood this from the heart. And he said, so, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatu Vanamashishtam Guna Karma Vibhaga Shaha, there are 4 classes of men. People looked up. And then he said, there's first class men, Brahmana. There's Kshatriya, second class men. There's Vaishya, third class men. There's Sudra, fourth class men. And he kept on talking about the different classes, explaining in detail why society has to be sectioned in different classes of people according to their capacity. Very clearly from Bhagavad Gita, he explained. So people started getting nervous, just talking to each other. Finally, somebody stood up and said, of course, Swamiji, you think you're first class. You're sitting on a high seat, surrounded by followers, covered with flowers. They offer flowers to you. I bow down in front of you. Are you telling us that you're first class? I became so angry, I was about to jump up and knock his teeth out. I was my German blood was boiling, And then Prabhupada said, and now comes this point where I sit there. Prabhupada said, no. He said, you completely misunderstand me. There was silence. And Prabhupada said, actually, I'm 5th class. People were shocked to hear this. He said, I'm 5th class. And then he said, and I saw, because I sat there, I don't think many people saw that, 2 big, he had these spectacles on his like this, and 2 big tears rolled down his cheeks. And I could understand. He was first class because he was dasa. He was a servant of the whole world. Although he was the best of all human beings at that time, probably even on the whole planet. But he was most humble at the same time. This is Srila Prabhupada, most humble. It was a very emotional moment. I cried, and many of us cried when Prabhupada said that. He was so exalted. He's such a powerful person that he can say such a powerful thing. Just like when he was in Frankfurt, there was a Christian professor, Professor Porsche from the University of Frankfurt, a Jesuit, double professor, two PhDs. And Prabhupada was in a habit to ask always the same question. When somebody meets him, Prabhupada would ask this question. He said, Professor such and such Porsche, I'm very glad to meet you. I've heard you had some books published, but I have one question. Can I ask one question? He said, yes. My question is, what is your philosophy? Prabhupada always asks the same question to anybody. Because otherwise a young bhakta is in the temple and somebody comes and he said, he starts preaching to him for half an hour. And then he asks him, did you understand what I say? He said, no, I don't speak English. I don't speak English. So you have to ask the question, where is this person? Who am I talking to? And so the professor said, we are Christians, and we believe that Jesus died for our sins, and that there is no other way to the Father but through me. I'm the light, the way, and the truth. Nobody comes to the Father but through me. And all these things we have heard in church for our whole youth, from childhood on, basically speaking. And then Prabhupada, then he asked Swamiji, what do you think of this? And Prabhupada was silent. He didn't say a thing. We are sitting there, all your age, sitting in front of Prabhupada. And then he said, like a rumbling cloud, very loud, he said, 2,000 years have passed, Professor Porsche. and still you don't understand Jesus. The man was in shock. He said, why do you say that? He's a PhD in Catholic doctrine, and why you say that? And Prabhupada said, because, he said, if you understand Jesus, if you can understand Jesus, you can understand Krishna, which is a very important, this is right from the Bible. Jesus said, if you know me, you know my Father. It's right in the Gospel of John. Jesus said that. If you know me, you know my Father. So Prabhupada never studied the Gospel of John, but that's right there. If you know me, you know my Father. So if you can understand Krishna, if you can understand Jesus, you can understand Krishna. And if you understand Krishna, you can understand Jesus. Interesting. So if you can understand Krishna, automatically you can understand the pure bhakta. Vaishnavya Kriya Mudra, nobody can understand the mind of a devotee. But if you understand Krishna, you understand the devotee is his servant. He's dasa, 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 and dasa. The servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That's what Jesus was. He was a servant. Jesus is not God. He's not Vishnu Tattva. He's Jiva Tattva, of course. But he is Shakti Avatar. That means a person sent by Krishna, empowered by Krishna. Shakti Avatar. No doubt about it. And he went to Vaikuntha. Prabhupada was asked this question in Boston by Bhaktadas. Where did he go? Did he go to the heavenly planets? He said, no, he went to Vaikuntha. It's right, right. I did the research. So he was very exalted, and Prabhupada said, if you understand Krishna, you understand Jesus. And then he said, and if you want to love Jesus, you must love also Krishna, which is also straight from Jesus' mouth. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one. If you love your Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. He didn't say, love me. You don't find this ever anywhere. Master, you're good. Somebody came and said, good is God alone. Immediately said, good is God alone. He disqualifies himself as being God. So Prabhupada said that. He said, if you love Jesus, you love Krishna. And if you love Krishna, you love Jesus automatically. And if you say to me that you want to love only Jesus and not Krishna, that means you have no knowledge. And that was the cutting point. That's missing, knowledge. If you don't have spiritual knowledge, you cannot understand why the innocent suffer. How am I to comprehend this? My brother died of cancer with 7 years, a cruel death of brain tumor. And I asked the priest, I was 10 years old, I said, Father, why did my brothers suffer so much? Where's God and all that? He said, I don't know. I said, must be. It says in the Bible, as you sow, you reap. What has he done? He was just a child. He said, I can't give the answer. Why? Because there's no knowledge. What is that knowledge? Lord Chaitanya asked this question. Oh, sorry. Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, one of the two, asked this question to Lord Chaitanya, why I'm suffering. First he said, Keami, who am I? Which is a very important point. Who am I? I'm not the body. I'm a spirit soul. Unless I have clear understanding that I'm a soul, that I'm always been, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, never was a time that I did not exist, nor you. One who is born, death is certain. One who dies, birth is certain. It's all in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Unless you understand that I had a previous life, and if you understand, if I were to go back into my previous life, crossing the threshold of my birth and my death, and study my previous life, I can understand why I'm like this. I can connect the dots. Unless you understand there's a previous life. Karma is one thing. The Christians also believe in karma, no doubt about it. What does karma mean? Karma means two things. There's two meanings, doing and getting. You do something and you get something for that. So you get a reaction for that. So they believe that in this life, whatever I do will have effects. It comes to effect in my coming life. I go to heaven or hell. That's the philosophy. There's a sense of karma, but they don't understand it reaches far into our past. And only if you have a clear understanding of soul, that I'm not the body, that I always have been, that there was never a time that I did not exist. Never was a time that I don't exist, nor you, nor all living beings. That's right in Bhagavad Gita. Now the Christian world doesn't believe that. Even the greatest philosopher, one of the greatest philosophers, St. Augustine, he writes in his dissertations, he writes, the soul is created by God. It's not created by man, it's created by God. There's no such a thing. The soul always has been. Never was a time that I don't know. The soul is eternal. Eternal means no beginning, no end. So even the greatest thinkers in Christian theology cannot understand the soul. Why is that? Because they are caught by dogma. They can't get out of this. They're in a box. They're imprisoned by dogma. You understand? They cannot even ask this question. It doesn't rise in their brain. And so they have no answer. Why do the innocent suffer? I talked about it in the previous time, in another occasion here. There was a tsunami in Japan 11 years ago. And there was a teleconference, like a Zoom, where people could call from all over the world. So one Japanese girl called and said, Holy Father, all my friends are dead. Where's God here? He said, I have the same questions, and I can't give the answer. I don't know the answer. It's clear. I can show you this here on my thing when you hear it. Let's do it. Give me a moment.
The Pope says he is praying for all the Japanese children who are suffering because of the earthquake last month.
You can hear it?
He answered questions from people around the world on Italian television on Friday. The first question was from a 7-year-old Japanese girl who said her house shook violently in the earthquake and that lots of children died. She asked why she had to experience so much fear and sadness.
Exactly the same question that I had when I was 10. It's the same question, down to the detail.
He doesn't have the answers, but tried to reassure her.
Be assured we are with you with all the Japanese children who are suffering. We want to help you with our prayers and with our action.
The program was recorded at the Vatican last week. This is the first time the Pope has taken part in a televised question and
So that's the first part. There's another part to it.
answer session.
This is more clear. Hello, Elena. I sent you my heartfelt greetings. I have the same question. Why is it this way? Why do we have to suffer so much while others live in ease? And we do not have the answers. But we know that Jesus suffered as you do. So he suffered, he's innocent. We are suffering because we are innocent. That's kind of the relationship that he tries to make. But he's a real God who's revealed in Jesus by your side. I think this is very important. Also, we have no answers. And although the sadness remains, he is Jesus on your side, and you can be sure he will help you. Can you imagine? There's no answer. And then he says, listen to this. One day you will even understand why it is so. Very important. There's a truth. All you have to do is you go into the next Hare Krishna temple, you buy Bhagavad Gita, read the second chapter, and you're all set. That's all you have to do. Go into the temple, buy Bhagavad Gita. It's simple. If you don't have the money, I give you that money. The whole problem, there's a science, a religious science called theodicy, that since 300 years people tried to find the answers to the suffering of the world. They've never come to a conclusion. You cannot come to the conclusion if you think, I'm the body and I have a soul. And that's what everybody thinks, I have a soul in the material consciousness. So, here's the answer. Oops. Wait a minute, I don't want to hear that. So here's the answer. the scriptural answer to that from Srimad-Bhagavatam. It is by the force of karma, Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord says, the blessed Lord says, it's by the force of karma that a living entity takes birth. It's by karma alone that he meets his destruction. His happiness, distress, fear, and sense of security all arise from the effects of karma. Wow. Black on white. That's what Krishna says, a perfect answer right there. Srimad-Bhagavatam 10:24-13. Thus, no one is innocent, not even a child. Hare Krishna. Do you have any questions? I hope I didn't take too much. Did I take too much time, Akila? Forgive me, but I couldn't. Once I'm on the, I get electrified. No questions?
I have a question. In Srimad-Bhagavatam, there are some occasions where someone is in a, let's say, depressed condition, and a friend comes and he tells him that all this is due to your own karma. So I feel like there's a high level of understanding and there's a high level of culture based on this. So as devotees, should we also try to encourage each other by telling it's your own fault, and it's good like this, and you can be satisfied by understanding this. So how much can we apply this principle of reminding others that our suffering is due to our fault?
We have to always preach according to time, place, and circumstances. Time, place, and circumstances. The truth is the same, but it cannot be spoken always in time, place, and circumstances. My wife fell from the stairs in the Frankfurt temple. She was in her 9th month of pregnancy. She fell from the stairs, and a girl called from upstairs. That's what you get when you have sex. Can you imagine? Not coming down. Philosophically, yes, there's some truth in it. You suffer the X, but you can't say that. In London Temple, there was a priest, an Anglican priest, comes with a whole class into the temple and said, "We want to hear from you, what is Krishna consciousness? Please explain to us." And so he explained, young devotee. And then the priest said, "We have one problem, of course. We believe that Jesus saves us from sin, and that nobody comes to the Father through me." And this devotee said, "Are you eating meat?" He said, "Yes, we eat meat." "That means you're a dog." I mean, the priest said, "Why are you insulting me?" All the children became angry. They ran out of the temple. After 10 seconds, there was nobody in the temple. What kind of preaching is that? It's a truth. People who are eating meat, men who are like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. It's like you can't preach like this. You can this to a devotee. Yes, you can explain that all our suffering is not outside the jurisdiction of God. It's within the jurisdiction of God. It's Krishna appears to you in the form of suffering, so that you can pay your bill. That's what it is, basically speaking. But you can't preach to people who are in distress. Somebody lies on the street in pain, and you say, "That's your karma." What kind of preaching is that? You have to empathize. What is this? You have to empathize. It means you have to feel empathic with a person. Say, "I'm so sorry," and help him. And in due course of time, when you find out he has an ability to understand, you can say, "Yes, the person who beat you, he's just the instrument of your karma." And when the person understands that, then he's able to truly forgive by knowledge. He's able to cross over the immediate cause. A person causes me to do that, to the ultimate cause, that is his own doing, that comes back to him. But you can't, in the moment, the person in distress, you cannot say that. It's wrong preaching. That answers your question? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I thank you so much. It was nice talking to you. glad to be back in this country.